to this evening's great, fabulous event. Thank you all for coming. Well, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. This year's Women's History Month theme is Moving Together, which embodies this evening's distinguished honorees, as you will see as they are called up on the stage. Right now, I want to kindly ask to have you all welcome our honorable, nuestra distinguida council member, Diana Ayala, and our gracious host for this evening.
This is probably going to go down as one of my favorite nights ever. I've never seen this many women that I love together under one roof.
Yeah.
And there are so many others that we just, couldn't invite or didn't have time or weren't available to come tonight. So I want to just thank you all for coming here because this is really mostly for me. You think it's for you, but it's it's for me because I really wanted to say thank you to all of you for being such an instrumental part of my life. Because in one way or another, whether you knew it, whether you intended it or not, you have touched my life. And that's what Women's History Month is about, right? It's about celebrating each other, about seeing each other, and the struggles that we all go through, and the challenges, but also the fight in us. Because we're strong and we're fierce. And that needs to be celebrated more often than not. And so I said, this is my last year. I need to have, like a hurrah of all of my favorites. And, I want to thank you sincerely. There are so many of you in here, and to those of you that don't know each other, I hope that you have an opportunity to get to know each other. We have resident leaders here. We have people that take care of our public safety here. We have folks that are, innovative and have been helping to create more housing in this room. I mean, you name it, and we have it here. And I think that we are blessed as a community because there's so many of us that are contributing in whatever way that we can. And I want to acknowledge Sandra Talavera as well. Because you've been working with you. Sandra, were you born in East Hampton?
I was born in New York and not in East York.
But you've been here how long?
Well, over 20.
Over 25 years? And the entire 25 years, I mean, as far as I remember her, I remember when I was working at Casino Maria at Harbor Houses. She's been working here, primarily with the older adult population. But I mean, she's so good that everybody, we all pull up to our groups because she's just so fantastic. And I really want to acknowledge her and say thank you for being such a blessing. Because you really are a blessing. Love you. Yeah. Also, because they're not in the program, but I also want to acknowledge that Melinda
Velez is here as well. Melinda was born and raised here, so she can tell you all the secrets and where all the bodies are buried. She won't, because she's not a tattletale, but she knows where they are. And Melinda has also, in one way or another, has, Elsie, vente para acá. What are you doing all the way back there? Come over here. In one way or another, she has worked, directly or indirectly to benefit this community. And, when I came into work for Melissa Mark Viverito, she became, my mom. Actually, we go into Costco's and people always confuse us. They're like, is that your mother? And I'm like, yeah, she could be. We kind of look alike. But when I say that I love her, I love her. Because more than a boss, and more than a friend, she's been family. And we share so many things in common that is really eerie. But when my mom was passing away, her mom was passing away, and I call her and I'm like, Melinda, my mom is passing away. And she's like, mine's too. And now and it was such a beautiful moment to have somebody to share that experience with. And we still do, we still feed off of each other in that way. And that's important. It's important that we are here for each other. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you were born here. I don't care, just be here for each other. And I say that, and we're gonna have a fantastic time. We're gonna have nice food. We're gonna have, we're gonna be recognizing some phenomenal women, and you'll see why in a second. But I want to leave you with this. Like yesterday, we had a rally at City Hall around for Women's History Month around gender-based violence. And the reason that I wanted to do that rally was because obviously it's something that's really important to me, right? Gender-based violence in our communities is very prominent, unfortunately. Many of us either have been on the receiving end of that or know somebody that has, been, abused in whatever way, shape, or form. And, this year, I'm really scared because whatever your political affiliation may be, and I'm really sorry to even bring this up, but I saw a lot of things, and I'm sure you all saw a lot of things, with the presidential election and things that were said about women that were really disgusting. And the way that we were represented and that people spoke about, us and our body parts, it's not something that I want to reward. But what it did do was that it opened the door to others. And so I'm gonna name it because I don't really care. I don't care. But we have 3 people running for office this year. That one was thrown out of office for sexually harassing a staffer. The other one was arrested and went to jail for a couple of years for taking pictures of his wiener. Maybe that's a hint. That's a hint. And putting it out on the internet, and sending these type of things to little girls. And then the other one, who's running for mayor, and I know a lot of people here love him. But I really want you to do your homework, because when we support people like that, we normalize that type of behavior towards women. We normalize it because we're saying we don't care that he touched somebody. We don't care that he was inappropriate. He's a great manager. Well, great managers don't touch people and they don't speak to people that way. And so, I would never tell you, but, to do one thing or the other. Again, I respect people's politics and I respect everybody's right to do whatever they want. But I feel in my heart that I have to say that because as I've been going around the community and speaking to people, I've heard some really horrible things. I've heard women tell me, well, sometimes is that these women, they show up to work looking all cute and, with their little tight shirts and their little tight skirts and, they entice these men. And I said, absolutely not an acceptable response. I don't care if you're butt naked. You respect. And I like to look cute sometimes too. And I want to walk around sometimes in my poom-poom shorts, and that does not give anybody the right to grab my butt. So I want you to think about that, because sometimes we like people because we think that, but when we don't have each other's backs, we all become the target. So keep that in mind when you're voting this year. Do your homework, but hold these men accountable, because they come in here with their, and I'm shocked because all the women are like, oh, hi, let's take a picture. And I'm like, guys, stop. We need to hold each other, because that's the only way that we have each other's back. We need your support. You need our support. We need each other. So I will leave it there. That is the last political thing you will hear from me today. But it was really important to say it because I'm, in a room full of phenomenal women, and we really, really need to step it up this year. Otherwise, we're leaving the future in the worst space that we found it. And I think about my daughter, I think about my granddaughters, and I don't want them to have to be subjected to that. And I think we've done so much work. We took 10 steps forward, and now we're 10 steps back. So with that, I hope that you enjoyed tonight. And again, I love every one of you. This has been the best experience of my life. I did not want to run for public office. Some of you told me to do it. Some of you were like, oh no, that's a lot. And I welcome everybody's advice. But I'm glad that I did it, because what I did was I took a leap of faith, and I trusted in myself. I bet on myself. And we don't always do that. I was scared. There were times that I was doing debates that I wanted to throw up. I was like, I'm gonna pass out. I know I'm gonna pass out, because it wasn't what I did, right? But I had the experience. I knew the work. I know my community. I know these issues, but we just don't trust ourselves, right? We always suffer from imposter syndrome, and I think I stand here as a testament that we can do whatever we want to do, and that is what all of you do, and that is how you have inspired me. So give yourselves a round of applause. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sandra.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, so we have a long, interesting program, but hay que comer. So now we have a lot of people, so we're going to suggest that we start somewhat in an orderly fashion because you can see the design of the room. So I'm going to ask these 2 rows to start going to the back and come back, and then we'll continue. Because if not, it'll be too congested. So, yes. 1 second, please, as we start getting ready.
I just want to pray over the food. Father God, can we bow our heads? Father God, thank you for this amazing event that our council person that really loves us had wanted to share before she left the office with us. But we ask you to bless the food we're about to receive. May it never shall body. Christ's sake, amen.
Thank you. Please, go. First 2 rows, please, to the back. And as soon as you come back, we could have the next row. Vaya. Okay, so we're going to start with our small business category. Hint. So our small business category, right, the bridge to success. And we're celebrating women who connect small businesses with vital resources. And our honorees this evening are Michelle Cruz. Michelle Cruz is our Chief Community Engagement and Economic Affairs of Union Settlement. And also Carrie. Take a picture. Take a little. She's not here. Okay. Take a picture. Relax. Thank you. Thank you.
Just really quickly, I don't know how many people know this, but when we went through the pandemic, our small businesses were really devastated. And it was the work of Michelle and her team that helped us to be able to help all of the small businesses in East Harlem. And she was actually working at my office, and we were lucky enough that we remembered that we found $10 million that when they built Pathmark, they committed to the city, and that money was missing for years. And I was like, where's my money? They found it right before the pandemic, and they were like, well, could you give us a list of ways that you want to use it? And I said, yeah, I have to get to it because, that's not just my decision. And then the pandemic hit, and I'm going to the bathroom literally, and it's funny and maybe a little bit weird that I say it, but I was going to pee, and I'm like, wait a minute. I have $10 million. Oh, my God, wait. And I call everybody, and I'm like, we're going to get on a call right now. And everybody was so happy. But because of that money, we were able to give grants to a lot of the small businesses in East Harlem, and we were able to keep them open. And that work was all her. So thank you, Michelle.
Okay, moving along. Our next category is our education category, and we all know how important this category is, especially here for our children in our community. So the Las Madrinas Award is honoring women who serve as mentors and guides in education. And our honorees this evening are Ayo Mendez Torres, Assistant Principal at PS 102. Please come up.
was going. I mean, you may see her because she's everywhere, which is really unusual for an educator, assistant principal, you're assistant, right? At PS 102, but she's been really working hard to bring, to combat food insecurity in the schools, to bring in funding and resources, and I really want to just, acknowledge that you've just been such an inspiration to so many of us. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Christy de la Cruz, the District 4 Superintendent.
This woman is a badass. She does not take no for an answer and has done so much for the kids in this district. Most recently, she fought tooth and nail to be able to get a pool in East River, what it was? River East. Yeah, and it's the most beautiful pool, but our kids get to learn, take swimming classes there, and it was a project that took a long time, but like I said, she's a badass. She does not give up, and we need people like that, helping our students. Thank you so much. Make me look skinny.
Our next awardee for our education category is Kaliri Salas Ramirez. Kaliris is an associate professor at Robert Wood Johnson Medical School.
And her babies are back there. Hi, guys. Kaliris is just really a Christy number 2. Like, they're like another badass woman that's been, lives in the community, working with our young people. Her children are educated here, but her, she's also very smart. She's a doctora, and she's brought all of that knowledge and, all of those resources to this community. And she's probably at every rally, at every event. She's fighting. She's fighting for those educational dollars like nobody's business. And so thank you so much, because I know that it's not easy doing that while we're raising children, but the sacrifice is not gonna noticed. Yeah, she's a jodona. She's one of those.
Okay, moving on. Our next category, which is very important and so apparent in our community, is arts and culture. The Spirit of East Harlem Award recognizes women who enrich East Harlem through their various arts and cultural contributions. And so I'd like to ask to join us Kathleen Benson Haskins. Kathleen is our chair of the East Harlem Tree Lighting Committee, which we all enjoy here on 106th Street every year, and the children love it. Such an important event.
Have you guys been to the 106th Street tree lighting? I mean, Kathy has been doing this for how many years now? Since 2006. Since 2006. So please come out and support them. She works really hard all year round to make sure. I mean, they literally start working on this. They started working on this year's tree the day after they lit the last one, and so 2 days. But thank you, Kathy, because you have given so much to this community. We really, really love you, and we thank you.
Our next awardee is Debbie Quiñones. Debbie is a strong advocate for the arts and culture. And health, too.
Yes, health. I mean, whenever you walk by a street that has been named after someone in this community, it was quite possible that Debbie got that name up there, because it was really important for her to make sure that we're preserving the history of those that came before us and those that dedicated so much. And so she's very artistic. She also does a lot of programming in her own free time at Art Park during the summer. She does the coquito contest, so you may have. You should have brought some coquito today. But she also travels throughout the city, right, educating folks on why coquito is important and how these traditions are really rooted in our community. And thank you, Debbie, because you've been fantastic.
Our next awardee is Violeta Galarza. Violeta is our CEO and founder of Keep Rising to the Top.
And Violeta, for those of you that may not know her, and I'll be surprised if you don't, she is, an East Harlemite, has lived here her entire life. And she has dedicated the last 35 years of her life teaching dance. She's a phenomenal dancer. If you want to learn how to dance, you should go to her classes. She dances everything, hip hop, salsa, merengue, whatever you name it, she does it. But she's been able to get a lot of our kids off the street and doing something that is positive, that allows them to gather the skills that they need, right, to become employable. A lot of them have danced with J-Lo, with Rihanna, with Beyonce. And, I went to her, the first time I went to one of her classes, I was really struck by the fact that not all of the kids look the same, right? You had little kids, you had big kids, you had, some adults. You had some kids that were overweight. You had some that were missing a limb. You had some that, were deaf. And I was like, what a beautiful community. What a beautiful community. What she's been able to create there is really just like unheard of. And the fact that all of them feel like they're the same, like there's no difference between any of them, is something that I really, it really, really touched my heart. And thank you, Violeta, for that.
Our next awardee under our arts and culture is Taina Traverso. Again, one of our strong advocates for the arts and culture of East Harlem.
If Debbie brought us the coquito, Taina reminded us how to make a pastel. Yes, she has her annual pasteles contest, and it's so much fun. It really it reminds you of home. But she's also very artistic and very involved in the arts, locally. And many people take for granted how many artists actually come from this community. We need to remember them, and we need to be able to acknowledge them, and we need to be able to celebrate them. And today we celebrate you, Taina. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, moving along. Our next category is our NYCHA Tenant Leaders category, the Matriarch Award. This honors women who protect and uplift their communities through housing efforts. We have a number of awardees that are unfortunately not here, but we will make sure that we get their awards. Our next awardee is Sandra Perez from the Homes Houses Tenant Association leader.
So Sandra's part of our new district, the new part of the district. I think the homes used to be ours many years ago, and then we lost it, and we were able to get it back this time around. And we really think that it's important to acknowledge our resident leaders. They work tirelessly for free, like many of us do, in your respective, responsibilities throughout the community. But being a resident leader is hard work, especially when you are representing development or a housing institution that is literally falling to pieces, and trying to make sure that those people that live in those buildings are living in a dignified fashion, and that she's bringing in those resources. So thank you so much, because I know it's a very thankless job, but we thank you for your leadership. Thank you.
Okay, our next awardee is Abigail Javier from Jefferson Houses.
Abigail, I'm gonna let you sit down so that you can hear me. So you can sit down so that you okay? Abigail has been, a leader at Jefferson Houses for many, many years. 30 years. 30 years. She's about to retire on us. She doesn't want. I'm like, no, don't go yet. But, but it's a lot. That's a lot of years of advocacy on behalf of the residents of Jefferson Houses, and we love you and we appreciate you. You're like my other mommy. When you remember when Corsi Houses is a senior building that's a part of Jefferson Houses, but they're like a little bit further removed. And the seniors wouldn't go out to the resident meetings because the resident meetings were at night and they don't like to come out at night. And so I spoke to Abby. I said, Abby, do you think that we could do a special meeting for them at the senior center in the morning? And she was like, yes, of course. And so for 2 years, we were, leader and co-leader, resident association presidents of Corsi Houses, until we were able to get the residents there to build the confidence to run their own building. And so that was a really big deal, and you didn't have to do that, and I really appreciate that. Is anyone here from Johnson? No? Johnson Houses. No. So I just want to acknowledge that we also have an award, and I'll get it to her family, for Etu Velez. And, Etu's name was Etu Battle Velez, and I always thought that the battle part, that she made it up just because, because it fit her so well, It was almost like she was destined, right, for that name. But she was a trailblazer in this community, and, really fought for public housing like nobody else. And, unfortunately, we lost her a couple of months ago, but we will, forever remember her. And for those of you that know Etu, we are working on renaming the Johnson Community Center after her. And we're also going to be doing a street co-naming, in her honor this summer. So, a moment of silence for Etu. Thank you.
Thank you. Next honoree is Judith Vargas. Is she here? Johnson. Okay. Christina Johnson from Lexington Houses.
Christina said she's gonna miss me, but I forgot to say I'm not going anywhere. I won't be a council member, but I won't be a pain in the butt too. But Christina is also part of, when they did the redistricting this time around, they added Lexington houses, and it's a small development, but with a lot of need, and a lot of advocacy and work has gone into really trying to bring funding for that development as well to make some of the repairs. And we have to acknowledge that there's a public health crisis happening right now at NYCHA, and all of the leaders that are here today that are being honored, and those that couldn't join us tonight, should really be celebrated every day, because the work that they have done and the work that they have ahead of them is really not an easy task. So thank you so much for your leadership.
Next we have Beverly McFarland from Taft Houses.
Say something nice.
This one's gonna be hard. No, Beverly and I met when she was on the resident board, and was very unhappy with the leadership there. She had a little old lady that was terrorizing her on the board. She was so cute, but she, I said, if you want change, you have to be that change, and so you have to run. And she ran and she won, and she's been the president for how many years now? 7 years. 7 years, and she's been battling, bringing in a new boiler to Taft Houses. They've had it really rough in the last few years. The electricity has gone out, the water, the elevators, and she has been there. But because of her advocacy, they're getting, the brand new boilers. We just, we funded, and they finished the work on a basketball court, because she said, we don't have a basketball court for the young people in this development. We have a lot of playgrounds, but we don't have anything for those teens, right, to keep them occupied. And she's also been fighting to bring a community center to the development for those same young people. And so we're really thankful to the contributions of other organizations in the community that have made that space, somewhat available to her children, the children at Taft Houses, because we all have to do our part to make sure that we're keeping our kids safe, and Beverly has gone above and beyond that. And above that, one of my favorite things, the literacy component. Like, she has, when she has family day, she always makes sure that she has a truck there with free books for their children, and all of the books are representative of the children that live in the community. And that is a beautiful thing, because we want our kids to see themselves reflected in everything. And so thank you for being a trailblazer in that area. Thank you so much, Bev.
Our next awardee is Diane Lopez from Wagner Houses.
So Diane represents Wagner Houses, and I know. It hasn't been easy. She has one of the largest developments in East Harlem, with the largest youth population, and also the largest older adult population. And so we've been working together to bring a community center to Wagner Houses. We were actually able to get funding from the de Blasio administration to take the old it was a daycare program center, and turn that into a state-of-the-art community center for the children there, because we have a lot of young people that are living there that are getting into, things that they shouldn't, and so we want to make sure that they have somewhere where they can get workforce development skills, and that is fully funded. We're just waiting for the mayor to release the money, and then the idea is to take the existing community center and to renovate it and make that the new senior center for the seniors at Wagner, who right now share like one room, but it's a lot of work. You don't have to do it, and you do it every day gracefully. Thank you so much.
Our next awardee is Maria Pacheco from Upaca 6.
Oh my God! If you don't know Maria, you're not in. You need to reevaluate your life. She has been a gift from God for us. She has. I mean, Maria, how many volunteer jobs do you have now? Like, she's everywhere. She's teaching the seniors art at the senior centers.
So jewelry making, crocheting,
Yes.
and just plain bingo and dominoes every night.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and then while she runs the association, she also, is doing security work in front of the building and the lobby, and organizing all of the seniors. She's a jack of all trades. She organizes them to go on. There's a senior camp. There's an older adult summer camp. If she misses it, she's gonna be in a bad mood. You remember the summer you couldn't go? You were so upset.
I was upset because I didn't like the way they did it.
Yeah.
No, I used to organize it every year, and all of a sudden, the centers are going to do it themselves.
Oh, they took your job.
No, it's not only that. It's that the fifth that used to give money, and it was divided. I'm sorry that I'm bringing it out, but it hurts. Fifth that used to bring out the money, donate, and every senior would get, it was divided amongst whoever wanted to go to the fifth. We used to have like 12, 15 people. This year, only 2 people from the fifth center.
So Maria was saying that she used to organize the campers, the seniors in the community, and so DIFTA used to give the money and split the cost, and so they used to have how many? 12, 15 seniors from the community, and then now they only have 2 that are able to go, and so so she's working. But best to believe that she's working to change that.
I just wanted to, a brief disclaimer, wearing my hat as part of a research project that we have here in East Harlem, studying dementia and aging. Maria is a member of our Science Partnership Board. And our last meeting, when I made the calls to remind everyone, she says, "Hi, Sandra, it's my birthday, but I'm going to come." And I said, "Stop. It's your birthday. You go have your lunch with your daughter." "Oh, but I could join virtual." No. Today is your day. We will send you all of the materials of our meeting, but enjoy your birthday. And so she always is so committed and helps us and guides us in terms of being focused in servicing our community as best as possible in our research. So for you, thank you.
And this Sunday, she's going to be joining us. Senator Gillibrand is going to be in the neighborhood, and she's going to be having a press event to talk about the potential cuts to Social Security, to Medicaid, and to SNAP benefits. And so Maria is going to be there representing her community and explaining why, any cuts would be, inhumane, but also that's our money. We work for it, and so, Yes, so she'll be there representing you all. Thank you, Maria.
Our next category is housing preservation, and this is the Legacy of Home Award, honoring women contributions to housing stability across generations. And our next honoree is Lekora Prince Okeak, community organizer.
Cora. Coco, if you know her. Miss Coco. Yes. You can find her hanging out at the Cavallo Senior Center every now and then. But also organizing her own building. Cora lives at 1199, and she has been really instrumental in helping to really raise awareness into some of the issues that are happening with a lot of our Michelamas and our, affordable co-ops. We haven't invested in them in the way that we should be. And so we've been working together with the residents, but we had an outage, a gas outage a couple of years ago that devastated the whole building, and she was really instrumental in making sure that they brought food for the seniors. Oh, thank you. I'll give Maggie a lot of that credit, and she's not here because she didn't want to come. So for those of you that are looking for Maggie, she was busy. She had something to do, but obviously we know Maggie. But Maggie worked really hard, and I want to give her a shout out because, Maggie's a pain in the what sometimes, but she gets it done. She gets it done, and so she was really helpful. But she's my conduit. I couldn't do this work without my staff. And somebody once came and said, "Do you only have women working for you?" I said, "Absolutely." What is the problem? What is the problem? Well, Brian is new, but now you're the lone wolf, right? He's brave enough to enter the den. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Coco.
Our next honoree is Fatima Dokore. And Fatima is president at Franklin Plaza. No. She's from 1199, sorry.
And I want to say Fatima, guys. Fatima has been working. She's the president of 1199 houses as well, and it's Riverland. It's 1199 River Landing, East River Landing. And obviously, as I just mentioned, Coco lives in that development as well, and they've been going through a really rough time with just buildings age, right? And so the city, the state, the federal government didn't do a really good job of thinking long term, and it didn't occur to them that if you maintain the building, that you don't have to, you wouldn't accrue all of these damages, and that are way more expensive and now just impossible to rectify immediately. And so I wanted to recognize that Fatima has just been really working really hard to preserve that affordability that the residents, which are primarily older adults in 1199, are receiving, so that they're not having to see a continuous increase in their maintenance fees because they had to make a repair that was absolutely necessary. And so it is a lot of work. It means coordinating with a lot of agencies, coordinating, with our office. while at the same time living her life and also doing her job, that she gets paid for. And so thank you so much for all of your services and for advocating for the people that live at 1199. Thank you so much.
I want to say that we have an all-women board. It's 11 women that's running 1199. So thank you.
And there's, Fatima, here. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Our next group is from Franklin Plaza, and our honorees are Lillian Bent, former Franklin Plaza board chair.
Oh my goodness, Lillian. Lillian was the president of Franklin Plaza's board for a really long time. She also served on the 23rd Precinct Council for a really long time, and she's still there every time I go. And do you remember when we met? You were kind of looking at me a little suspect, like, who the hell are you? You remember that? Aww. We got to know each other. She was like, wait. And I get it because a lot of times, right, we're not expecting people to come and show up and want to be really helpful. Oftentimes, especially in politics, right, people are coming and they're taking advantage and, taking a photo and leaving. But this is my community, and I've been here since the mid-90s, working with the older adult population, organizing, residents. And so the everything, I mean, I've been everywhere, but so, it took a minute for her to get to know me and love me. She loves me. She loves me, but we've worked, hand in hand to bring in food for our seniors at Franklin Plaza during the pandemic that got left out for some reason or the other. She's just a jack of all trades. She's been everywhere. She's one of the most knowledgeable people in this community. And so I wanted to acknowledge that and to say thank you and that we love you and we really appreciate and we see you. Thank you. She's sticking around, yeah. And this is her little grand dog baby. So cute.
Our next awardee is Leslie Colon, a board member.
So Leslie, the 5-time champion of the Coquito contest here in East Harlem. So you can always call her before the holidays and she'll have a couple of bottles stashed for you. But we have a running joke in East Harlem because we have the group of La Jodonas, and that means a pain in the ass. And Leslie is part of La Jodonas. That should have been a category, but in a good way. It's a good thing. It's actually a really good thing because, she sees a lot of things that are happening in the community that she doesn't agree with. And most people would, they will complain about it, but she actually does something about it. And so she has been on the community board unofficially, even though she's not a member. She goes to every meeting. And so we're looking to change that this year and make her a permanent member of the community board. But really advocating on behalf of the residents also of Franklin Plaza as it relates to, when the city bike was coming in, her concern was really not so much that, we want to make things accessible to East Harlemites, but Franklin Plaza is also home to a lot of older adults who happen to use, electric wheelchairs. And her concern is like, how are they gonna get by if you're taking up all of this sidewalk space? And she was like fierce, fighting every day about that. And now she's been really heavily involved in going into all of these meetings and trying to figure out what's happening with the Second Avenue subway and how that work impacts the residents of Franklin Plaza. And so I thank you so much, and on top of that, she's such a great daughter. She's always with her mommy, Myra, right there. That's her little homie. They go out everywhere. And she was an EMT for a long time. 30 years, saving lives. So give her a round of applause, please. Thank you. You guys didn't realize that we had all this greatness here, huh? You see?
So we're continuing with our Legacy of Home Award, and this is a group from East Harlem El Barrio Community Land Trust. And our honoree is Lynn Lewis, Executive Director, Picture the Homeless.
What a beautiful person, right? In and out. She's just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. But does anybody remember Picture the Homeless? That Lynn Lewis was the president of the Picture the Homeless and has been, you know, a trailblazer in helping to advocate for individuals that are unhoused, ensuring that their rights are protected, fighting to make sure that we're building housing, that we're building supportive housing, so that people are not sleeping out on the street, that they're not forgotten, that there are individuals, they're human beings, they're somebody's children, somebody's brother, somebody's, you know, loved one. And, you know, I mean, she's just been everywhere. But one of the biggest projects that she's been working on that you guys would hopefully, you know, appreciate in many, you know, a few years when we're not around is the Community Land Trust program. So there's a Community Land Trust here in East Harlem thanks to the efforts of Lynn Lewis. And the Community Land Trust is really important because we only have one in New York. We had one in New York City, the Cooper Village downtown. And Lynn wanted to kind of model that. But what the Community Land Trust does is that there's a building that's in distress, right, that is operated, you know, the residents are hoping to take over. Then they would take the building over and they would renovate it and make sure that it stays affordable. It's very different from what we know as the HDFC because the HDFC program does the same thing except that if you're a resident and you want to buy out, like you want to sell your unit, you become a shareholder, you want to sell your unit, you can sell that and make a lot of money. And they became profit-bearing, you know, opportunities for folks, and that was not what the program was intended to do. It was intended to keep you here in your own community. And so with the Land Trust program, we're preserving the buildings, we're making the upgrades, we're keeping the original tenants at a very affordable rate, and we're making sure that nobody can sell those apartments. So if they pay $200 for the apartment to get in, and they want to leave, they're getting $200 to leave. So we take away the incentive to, you know, to really abuse that system in that way. But that was a lot of work. It took a lot of years, and we finally opened 2 of the buildings. The other 2 are being renovated. We have 4. We're trying to build. We're trying to continue to put into that portfolio so that we're growing it. But it's really because of her work. More and more organizations throughout the city now are interested in this model and are trying to replicate it. So this is going to be, you know, the new way to build and to preserve affordable housing in New York City that's truly affordable to the folks that live there. So thank you so much, Lynn. I love her. I love her. I love her. Yeah. I told you guys, this is all of my favorite people in the one room.
Our next awardee is Rosa Custodio, Treasurer of CLT.
So Lynn was part of the an instrumental part of the beginning of the Community Land Trust process, but she could obviously not do that by herself. And Rosa was one of the residents, the local resident, been here her whole life, who stepped up to the plate and volunteered her time to make sure that the Community Land Trust model came to fruition. And now she is the board president. Yeah. And we recently cut the ribbon on two buildings, the Tito Puente complex building, which is on 110th Street. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's right by Madison Avenue, and it was falling apart. Like the bricks were going into the next building. It was in really bad shape for a long time, and we were able to get that building into the land trust, and recently did the ribbon cutting. And so I really want to say thank you, because I know that you've spent so much of your time working on that, and it's gonna, it means so much to the people that are there now, but for future generations, because we're preserving that, right? And that's one of the ways that East Harlem is very unique, is, when gentrification was like, a threat everywhere else, and not that we didn't get hit by it, because we did, but the impact was not as substantial, because, we have people like Rosa, like Lynn, like your, Hope Communities and Operation Fight Backs that preserved, they saw, the importance in acquiring properties and keeping those properties affordable. That, coupled with all of our public housing developments, it really made it impossible to, come in here and change the landscape too much. So thank you so much, Rosa.
I want to thank so much, Diana, that you continue to believe in us and support us. Every time we make a call, there was never denied, none of your staff. They've been awesome staff, communication, fighting through HPD. They're trying to change our mission, and when I said no. So you have to stick to your mission. Don't let nobody stop it, because it's a long road, but it's gonna finish.
Thank you.
Our next awardee is Leona Fredericks. Is Leona here? Okay, we'll hold it. And our next honoree is Bridget Scott. Is she here? Is Bridget here? I don't think so. Okay, so let's move on. Our next category is our public safety category. This is the Justice and Safety Leadership Award, honoring women who lead in advancing justice, safety, and equity. Our next honoree is Corinne Dickens. And Corinne is our PSA 5 Community Council President.
There's no money here. But you don't need money. You have my love. She can't spend that, she says. Take a picture. Look, listen, focus. Corinne's mind is everywhere. But she is such a treasure. She is a resident at Washington Houses, but she also is a volunteer of all things. So she has helped, I don't know how, Carrie King couldn't be here today. She has been doing a lot of work with the small businesses and in programming in the community. And Corinne volunteers her Saturdays and Sundays throughout the summer to help her keep our open streets working and operational, because they don't get any money really to do that work. And those streets are really, those activities are really important, because we're able to bring cultural, musical events into the community, but also recreational activities for the children. And while we're doing that, we're also promoting the small businesses in that location. And so that's one of her jobs. Her other job is she is the president of the 23rd Precinct Council. I'm sorry, PSA 5. Oh, forgot. The PSA 5. She won't let you talk unless you tell her that you're going and she approves it first. So if you show up, you better forget about it, because she's no nonsense. And, that is a true story. But but she, she does it with love, and she harasses me all the time. Like, I need more money. We need this. We need that. We want to do a beautiful. So many years ago, the way that National Night Out. So National Night Out is like a one day in the summer where all of the precincts kind of come out, and it's meant to build community relations, and so the PSA didn't really have a lot of resources, so I said, you know what, we're gonna give you the money, and that way you don't have to worry about going and asking anybody to do it. So every year she keeps calling me for more. Like, I was trying to be nice, and now, what's up with that?
We broke.
But please give her a round of applause. I love her so much. Yes, thank you. Oh, the box.
Our next honoree is Kyoka Jackson from the 25th Precinct Community Council President.
Like many of the other women in this room, Kyoka wears many, many hats. She is the president of the 25th Precinct Council. She also helps organize the East Harlem Little League Club. So if you want to support, or if you have children that want to join, Kyoka has been, super helpful in recruiting and in preserving that program that was at risk of literally disappearing. But through the precinct work, she started this program, which was really, it was so heartfelt. I loved it because it reminded me of my childhood. So she started a program to bring Christmas gifts for the children. And I remember when I was a little girl, my mother used to take us to the local precinct, and many of us in this room, remember doing the same because we just didn't have any money. And I don't even remember what I got. I swear, I don't remember a single gift, but I remember that feeling of happiness. And and she does that for our children every single year. She's always looking for ways to engage our young people and ensure that they have a safe space. And so I really thank you, because I know that you're doing that while you're also trying to work and taking care. She's taking care of her grandma, who's the cutest thing. She's a little spitfire, but I know it's a lot, and a lot of us carry a lot on our shoulders, and we do it with grace, and we don't always see that, but we see you. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Jaylise Cosme, police officer of the 25th Precinct Community Affairs.
Who says that we don't love our cops? We love our Cosme. Cosme is a community affairs officer at the 25th Precinct, and so it is her job to interact and interface with the community, and she does it so well. We all know her and we love her. She, is always looking also to, bring in resources and provide programs for the young people as well, but also looking out, right, for the public safety of the community and looking for ways that the community and the precinct can work together to make that happen, to make the community safer. And I really, I appreciate that because, not every officer is, like the ones that we have. And I want to say that we are very lucky in this community. We have some really fantastic individuals that are representing the precincts, and you happen to be one of them. And she happens to be the only woman. What's up with that? I'm looking at you from the 2-3. We need women. Community affairs women. Thank you so much, Cosme. I love you, mamacita. Here.
Our last category, but not least, is our social services category. These are Women of Service and Strength Award, which celebrates women who serve with dedication, resiliency, and impact. And our next honoree is Pauline Lau. Is Pauline here? And so Pauline is our staff generalist, Community Services, Asian Americans for Equality.
You don't have food in your mouth. But Pauline does, she provides out of our office, we try to bring in free resources for the community. So we have a whole bunch of clinics. We have a free NYCHA clinic. We have a SNAP clinic. We have housing specialists that are there to help, individuals that live in rent-stabilized buildings. And we also have, we have everything. But one of the things that we didn't have that we desperately needed was somebody that could speak Mandarin and Cantonese, because we have a large Asian community in East Harlem. And we don't have resources for them here, and that's just insane. So we've been able to give some funding to Cavello Senior Center to hire a bilingual worker, working with our food pantry so that they can also hire folks that are bilingual, because these are our neighbors. We also celebrate, thanks to Sandra, has been a part of that as well, and some of you have gone. The Lunar New Year event that we host every year is so beautiful. This year, finally, we were able to do it, at Johnson Community Center, because we hadn't been able to do that since after the pandemic. But her clinic is actually one of the busiest clinics in the office. So she's seeing clients every day. She had to actually increase it to another day. So now she's at the office 2 days a week to be able to accommodate the need that exists in this community. And I want to thank her because, she's been a huge advocate and ensuring that our Asian, primarily elders, are not left behind because linguistically they don't, they can't communicate what their needs are. And that has to change. And, one of the visions that we have had is, La Marqueta has been a very instrumental, institution for many Puerto Ricans in East Harlem. And when Puerto Ricans were migrating here, you couldn't buy certain products, right? They didn't exist. And so people will go to La Marqueta and they will find them here. So people will come from every borough just to be able to do that. And so as we're thinking about renovating it, and we'll actually be putting out some information soon so that you can come and have a conversation about what you would like it to look like. My vision and my hope is that we are, we have allow some space there as well, so that, these folks are able to shop locally in their own communities and not have to travel all the way to Queens to be able to do that. But thank you so much, because she's helping to make sure people have, she's dealing with food insecurity, with evictions, just translation services, you name it, she does it, and she does it so gracefully. So thank you so much.
Our next honoree is Diola Castillo, Director of Communications, Positive Workforce.
Diola is one of the only women at Positive. If the only, oh my God. And Positive Workforce, if you don't know, they're located their headquarters is located on 125th Street between Lexington and Park. They do workforce development primarily in the construction field. So a lot of members, a lot of our community, neighbors have gone through that program and learned some sort of skill, be it, in plumbing, electrical, brickwork. My own kids, went through the program. They loved it. During the pandemic, when some folks didn't want to get vaccinated for whatever reason, I'm not judging, they lost their employment. And Positive Workforce was able to work with those folks and ensure that they still, were able to make a living and, pay rent and be able to take care of their families. And a lot of that is thanks to this beautiful woman that's standing right here. Of course, it has to be, right? She's the only woman there keeping it together. So thank you so much.
Our next honoree is Carol Johnson. Carol Johnson is our disaster liaison of the East Harlem Community Organization's Active in Disasters, East Harlem COAD.
So have any of you been to any of Carol's workshops on disaster prevention? Yes. So you know that she's a master teacher. And Carol, you want to sit? And Joe, got her the chair so that she could sit there for a little bit. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Thank you. I've spent so much time with her. She was, especially throughout the pandemic when everybody was, at home trying to stay safe. We were out in the streets preparing packages, care packages for families in the community, making sure that PPE was readily available. But independent of that, Carol is part of a team that educates the community on what to do in the event of an emergency. Many of you know that we live in a flood zone, and so, in the event that there is, and I'll tell Angel to tell you where you're supposed to go, because I don't know where you're supposed to go. I forgot. I know it's up north. You have to go north and west. But that work is really important because we've had, especially with global warming and all of the changes in the weather, we've had storms. We've had one year we had like a massive snowstorm. And folks didn't know where to go. They didn't know where, people were trapped in their apartments. People didn't have, access to medication. They had no working elevator. We have, folks that have their pets in the apartment. And so this is the team that's going to help you understand what it is that you should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And, that work is not easy and it's not free. So they also go out and they, apply for government grants to ensure that, that is happening. And so thank you, Carol. She's out there with her little wheelchair everywhere, running people over.
Thank you so much, Diana, and your team. I just want to say that we all started as CERT, Community Emergency Response Team, fully volunteer group, trained under New York City Emergency Management, who is the coordinating agency for all emergencies in the city. And that was a valuable lesson. And I would say that if you guys can't come out to our next event, which is May 16th, and the information will be online. We never withhold it. I would suggest that you get in touch with CERT, New York City, nyc.gov/CERT, C-E-R-T. I see some CERT members over here. Yes. Raise your hand. We were all part of Harlem of CERT 11. It will be one of the most valuable trainings. It's free. It's one of the most valuable trainings that you can take to learn how to protect you and your family, and your pets need a go bag too. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you so much.
Our next honoree, I'm so excited to mention her because she's a very special friend and colleague. We've worked together for so many years in East Harlem. Angel Palermo is a project director of East Harlem COAD. Angel Palermo has been a friend, a colleague, and a mentor for me. For many, many years, we've worked with older adults. Her knowledge, her humility, and her commitment to servicing our community goes without saying. So I'm really So excited to be able to give you this award. And she's a doctor.
She's been with Mount Sinai for many, many years. So you may know her there, but she's also really busy, trying to make sure that she's bringing that information into the community. So she's the brains behind, all of our operations. Thank you so much, Angel.
And last but not least, we have our honoree, Maria Cruz, is a former director of ARCO Management.
So if you don't know Maria, Maria was the president of the Taino Towers Board management, actually, for how many years, Maria? 30? 50. 50? Oh my God, 52. Mira para allá. Mira para allá. So Taino Towers is one of our, affordable housing complexes. It's made up of 4 towers on 123rd Street. And, it wouldn't have operated the way that it did. I mean, when Maria took it over, it was really in bad condition, and she was able to, rehab the buildings and bring the financial stability that they needed. And most recently, right before she decided to fake retire, because she's fake retired, because she's there all the time. She, one of the things that I admired about what she was doing before she left was that she was actually grooming, the next generation to take over so that the work that she had done wasn't in vain. And that's a very important thing to do. And it's very hard, right, to be able to do that. As I'm leaving the city council, I know how hard it is because, I've been in this position in some way or shape or other. I'll be here for almost 20 years. And just doing this. I mean, I've been doing other things, but it's you want to make sure that the work that you're putting into something that is a beautiful, that is done correctly. And a lot of people don't do that because they don't want to give it up. And so what happens is that after they leave, that work, it crumbles. That institution crumbles. And so she was really adamant about making sure that she left Taino Towers in the best hands possible so that we are preserving, but also on top of all of the maintenance, needs of the complex. And also while she was busy doing that, she was also busy, ensuring that she was preserving the culture, at the development and hosting events and really recognizing the mothers and, the seniors, and just has done such a, a fantastic job. And, 52 years, that's a whole lifetime that she spent there. That means those are hours that she didn't spend with her own family so that she could spend it with ours. Maria, no hay manera de pagarte. There's no way that we can repay you for that. Thank you so much.
I'm Mr. Dea, Taino, and also the community. I love to work with the community as well. Okay, and thank you, family in the house now. Thank you.
And because of Maria, just, I think this is also good because you also, I hope, got to learn a little bit about the work that's been happening in the community. We were able to do an Article 11 at Taino Towers to help, restore not only its finances, but to do a complete renovation of the entire complex. And so, she was, she used to call me all the time, Diana, we need to get it done. And I'm like, we're gonna get it done, and we got it done together, So thank you for that as well.
Thank you to you as well, because you have been amazing, okay, working in this community, not only this community, also in the Bronx, okay? And we are very proud of you, all the things that you have been doing. And thank you.
And I want to shout out Iris. Where's Iris? There she goes. Iris is Maria's, right hand, and she brings me, every now and then I'll call her. I'm like, Iris, I need dulce de coco, but the real dulce de coco, the one that you grind the coconut. So there happens to be a senior citizen in the building that makes it, so she knows him, and she goes and she brings it to me in the office, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. It's so hard to find here in New York City, but thank you so much, Iris, for your work.
So as we get close to our closure, I want to especially honor, acknowledge, and thank Diana because this. I've been around a lot of elected officials, and I can dare say that very few are able to do what Diana did this evening, right? Not only did she give out these awards, identify them, recommended them, but had a special personal anecdote. And what you see in Diana and what we all see in our future leaders that are coming from this office is the knowledge and understanding of the roots, the quality, the strength of our East Harlem community. And so this theme of this moving forward, all of you here present and all of the women that have been honored, I salute you because you individually and as a group have incredible accomplishments in contributing to the quality of life, stability, and nourishment of our community. And so we thank you. Please. We want to again say thank you to our East Side Soul for their beautiful facilities, our being our host, our gracious host, decorating. We want to the food, and also we want to acknowledge all of the staff of Diana's office that have graciously.
I want to just acknowledge two individuals in my office that are here. Obviously, for those of you that know Maggie, tell her that I said really nice things about her, because she's gonna ask, was I brought up? Did she? We love her to death. But I want to recognize Stephanie Herrera. Stephanie, venga, ven chiquita. Hi, Steffi. Stephanie is la chiquita de la oficina. She's our young blossoming star. She actually used to work at the Chase Bank on 2nd Avenue on 106th Street for a long time. And then she came to our office, and now she started, she actually worked her way up, and she's now the Deputy Chief of Staff. Yeah. She works on budget and on finance matters, and she does a lot of everything else. She's been working with, this year we are doing participatory budgeting again. So we stopped doing it because a lot of the projects were just really expensive, and it was like $1 billion, and it just became too difficult, and people would come and it would be disappointing. So I'm like, just tell me what it is and I'll fund it, But this year, we thought, you know what, we should bring it back, but we should make it youth-centric so that we're teaching the children, young adults about, civic engagement, but also allowing them to dictate where our public dollars are going in their local schools and in their communities. And Stephanie has been doing all of that work. Yes, PB voting starts on Saturday and all of next week. But she has been an instrumental member of our family, and I can't wait to see what the future looks like for her. Thank you, Stephanie.